So if you just want to start off and tell us your story, how when you started, you went to the military, how old you were.
I was 24 years old when I joined the military, Air Force. I went through basic training. I was the oldest woman in my basic training unit. Everybody had just graduated from high school. I just left mom's house for the first time. I had been married at 17. I was 24. So really I had all the gods against me. But after 6 weeks, we were the first unit that made a group whole graduate in 10 years. We had a lot of unity, and that's one thing I really enforced, and I think it really worked, because when I got in law enforcement school, for 6 months I became a training instructor assistant. So that was another thing that we all worked together, because at an early age I had people telling me what to do. So it was easy for me to get along with everybody and help them do it, working with them instead of telling them what to do. And it all panned out pretty good, because we were supposed to do a lot of things for me, party and stuff, but with all GI to be able to be right on time for Monday morning. That went over to when I went to my first base in Mojave Desert Air Force Base in California. It's a base nobody ever goes, volunteers to go to, but once you're there, you get stuck unless you get realistic to go somewhere else. And I had the, I guess you say, fortunate chance to be stuck there. But it was a good experience until my last year and a half. I had a bad experience with an NCO officer. Um, it was bad enough that I was the only black female cop on the base. And it was a bad accident. I try not to really too much talk about it. But after the incident, I turned him in. Everybody turned against me. And I became, I guess you call it a class alcoholic, because nobody wanted to be involved with me. Nobody wanted to work with me. Nobody wanted to associate with me. It's like I was ousted from the unit, you know. I think I get very depressed. I don't even, can't really, I think I started blacking out. I was drinking so much because people would tell me things that I was doing. I wouldn't really remember it. But then all I remember was them telling me after they reprimanded him, they demoted him, they took him away from patrolling, put him behind a desk, and next thing I remember, I was getting an early discharge. At first I thought that was the best thing I could ever do, because then I wouldn't have to deal with it. But when I came home, I felt ashamed, because I got out the military early because of something I didn't do. My family didn't understand why I went in the military, because I was a female to begin with. And then they thought I did something wrong to get out early. So now I was ashamed to even tell what had happened. I went back to work. I went to work at 2 jobs so I wouldn't feel and think about it. And I really started back to really drinking. I was a functional alcoholic for a while. Then a man tried to get involved with me, and I think that's where my troubles really started with my PTSD, because that's when I realized I was afraid of men. Police, doctors, anybody in uniform. And to deal with it, I drunk even more. I was afraid to tell men I was afraid of men. My first husband, who was in the military, who had got out of prison for killing my first child, I knew he was getting out of prison for kidnapping my son. Then the husband that beat me, I saw him 3 times in 1 week until my daughter's father died of lung cancer, all in the same week. So that was a little bit, I was clean for like 5 months, and that's when I kind of like really relapsed, back to drinking. And I hadn't been inpatient for like 3 years. But my psychiatrist said, if you trust me, I need to find you a bed. She said, do you trust me? I said, yeah. So when I came out, I had nobody to turn to. Nobody in my family had ever been in the military. And what I experienced at the end of my military tour, I knew I couldn't go to no man to talk about it, you know, so that was the lesson I wanted to do. But I know now where I can go if there needs to be, but there's women that's coming home that's never even got there. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to stress, that there's somewhere to go for help. Maybe not necessarily where I've been, but there is help there. Not even at the VA. There are mental health facilities in the community that will help. I went through a lot of jobs having PTSD and leaving jobs because of my PTSD. And I went through a cycle of that for like 10 or 15 years. Do you think they're going to be able to last 10 or 15 years of doing that? No. No.
Do you feel like there is ever going to be a cure for PTSD, or is it something?
I don't think it will ever be a cure, but you can learn how to deal with it from day to day. There are days sometimes I'm overwhelmed with feelings, triggers, but I've learned a lot of tools to come out of it. I learned how to sometimes count my way out of it, listen to music, or take myself somewhere with visual imagery, meditation. Everybody has something different that they're dealing with, but there are different ways. I watch the new veterans come home. They have the little parades and the parties for these people coming home in the motorcycle. If they came home and got me when I came home, I'd probably want to go back. And I'm female. Now, I believe they should have a welcoming committee of women to meet these women. Okay, if they be a motorcycle women, but they need to be female. Okay, the men probably have their issue, but they can deal with the men. But the women really need women, whether it be because of their PTSD, just because it's a woman. I think it'd be more happy to go back. I really do. You already have a bad experience.
What are the greatest needs for a female veteran? If you had to pick from all of them, what are the top 3?
Definitely therapy. Definitely female therapy. Definitely female doctor. I mean, when I got out, most of all the groups, I was the only one. You know how horrible that was? I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't even see what what was going on because I'm too worried about what was around me. And that's the biggest thing because they threw us in right with the front was. I'm sorry, I guess we need to be segregated to start with. They really need to know how to take care of themselves before they can even go back into that mode. You know what I'm saying? I was in the Navy for 15 years, and I was attempting to try to get in a relationship with my man and was in there. And that's toxic for a person. People think, oh, well, you need to have a husband, you need to have a relationship. But if you don't have yourself well, nothing's going to work. Everything else around you is going to be toxic. And I had to learn that through experience. They really need to come out into some kind of treatment to kind of ease them back into civilization. Because the civilian world from the military world is totally different. And especially if something traumatic happened, it makes it worse.
You know, we've been hearing a lot about the transition to the civilian world. Can you describe how it's different?
Well, I was able to do a peacetime. And even though I was involved in the military from 17 to 30-something, once I actually started being totally civilian, it took me 10 years to adapt to civilian life. And I'm 54 years old. These people come home, they're not even in their late 20s, not even in their early 30s. And if they already been in a war, then they come home with PTSD, and you just send them back out here. They got to think about, okay, I got to go back to work, I got to do this. They need to first transition their mind right on the right track before they can even try to think about it because it's not going to work. I went straight to work when I got out of the military, and it didn't last long. I mean, I think I worked 5, 6, 7, 18 jobs before I actually got to a stable job. And that was just, I had been in treatment for a while.
So is it, we've heard somebody describe it as the difference in how many decisions you have to make during the day? Or
I think it's because your mind is already jumbled from the experience you had, and then you got to try to defocus that and focus on what's really going on. And you can't really figure out which is which half the time. So that's why they need to get stabilized in their mind before they can go out to do anything else. I had to make myself do experience get my help. But it was a long road to recovery for me. It took me from 82 to 94, 95 before I actually started getting help. And that's a long time. And I don't think these people have that much time.